We've been studying about miracles, and we're going to continue on today about miracles, and really this whole quarterly study is on miracles. And so one of there's so many stories, I won't say great story, but this is another story about the Centurion soldier. And all of them is good because it had a point to everything that we studied and why it was done. So it's just going to make things better, and that we can understand it better as we go through it, and hopefully we can see why God did these things. Okay, chapter 8. There are any questions or comments of what we have studied in the past, or what we did last week, or what we're going to be on coming doing further to study miracles? If you have your Bibles, I would just begin at verse 8 in the Bible, at verses number 1, and we'll read down to verses number 5. We'll pick up in chapter 8 and at verse 5, then go through 13, but I'll start at verse 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him, and behold, there came a leper and worshiped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus said unto him, See, thou tell no man, but go thy way. Show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for the testimony unto them. So here, so many miracles was done during that time, and he told the leprosy, this guy that had leprosy, to go his way. And he asked the guy that he wanted to be healed, which he did. And after he came down out of the mountain, and the leprosy man came to him and worshiped him. So he knew Jesus was a healer, and everything was going on in that region. So, hey, if you in a predicament, that's what I would do. If I knew someone there could help me, I would come where he is at. And that's what happened. And he did. Jesus cleansed him. Any question, comment? Anyone? Okay.
He said, you can make me clean. So he knew he could. It wasn't like, I'm coming down here as a last ditch effort, Like, oftentimes people like the last, if they do everything else after that, to start praying. After that, at the very end, you're like, well, I'll go to God after you've done everything else. Mm-hmm.
Right.
This guy knew that Jesus could make him clean.
Mm-hmm. Right. He also acknowledged that God was willing to do it. You're willing to do it, like, and you don't, this is your choice. But
right. He asked him, we.
like we have to do. We ask him,
right.
Are you willing to do this for me?
Mm-hmm. We are in chapter 1. I don't know why I keep doing it on the chapter this morning, but chapter 8. But we're reading in the first 4 verses before the lesson started in our workbook. We at verses number 3 right now. But Jesus stretched forth his hand and touched him. And he said, I will cleanse thou. Will thou be clean? And immediately his leprosy was clean. So after the question had been asked, yeah, he will do it. And Jesus stretched out his hand and did it. And immediately, which we've been studying all through this quarter, when Jesus did something, it happened right then. It wasn't no 2 or 3 weeks, and you got to go through therapy for a month or 6 weeks, and then you get your strength right then and there. It was done. Okay. And Jesus said unto him, See, thou tell no man, but go thy way. Show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto him. So You know, it's amazing. I wonder why he didn't want him to tell no one that he did heal him at that time. I know every time Pentecostal again, you know, on Sabbath day, every time he heals someone, you know, they want to kill him. You know, they want to, hey, why he doing this on the Sabbath day? You know, and they seek out, try to find him and try to get him and try to do something to him. Okay, Sister Hickman.
But also every time he healed them, a lot of people can't be healed. They want to be healed. They can be pressed by a lot of people. Maybe he didn't have time. You know, he had to be somewhere or whatever. But if I told somebody I was healed, I can see lots of more coming.
Yeah. Well, that is a good point, because, you know, you do a good deed, you know, other folks want to be healed too. Everybody start pressing upon you. Heal me too, Keaton. Will you do this for me too? You know, and even like when today society, when giveaways or whatever, everybody come, most of everybody that want to try to get the hand in it, and you might not can help everybody. You know, even us as here at the church, you know, we men in the business meeting, we discuss a lot of times, people be wanting help. But, you know, sometimes we just can't help everybody. You know, you want to, but sometimes you just can't do it. Any other question or comment?
I think he wanted his focus to be on his spiritual healing more than he wanted it on his earthly healing.
Mm-hmm.
He did spend a lot of time healing people of their infirmities, but he came here for a much greater reason than that. I guess that maybe sometimes that's why rather than try to glean out of it, is it for your eternity, not just physical limitations that your diseases and problems bring.
Right. Well, we know that he was on a task he had to do.
Right.
And he had to keep focus on what you got to do, you know. So, okay.
He told his mom that at the wedding when she wanted him to make wine.
Yeah.
Because that was really not what I'm here for.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
His mom said, just go do it.
He was obedient, but he just let him know. Even when he was 12, he said, I must be about my father's business. You know, she sort of said that she left him. She left him. And didn't realize that she got a long way talking to her friends, but he let her know, you know, I must be about my father's business. This is the reason I'm here. And you about, more than anybody knows why I'm here. I got to be about my father's business.
Right. Any other question or comment? Okay. Verse number 5 in our workbooks. Will someone take verse 5 and 6, please?
Now when Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him, pleading with him, saying, Lord, my servant is lying at home paralyzed, dreadfully tormented.
Okay. So immediately after that, you know, one came to him. The centurion, we know, is a soldier, which as we go in the lesson, he's going to tell about what kind of authority he had and all this. And he was a leader in the military. You know, he had a pretty good high stature command. You know, a lot of people was up under him. And so he came and he pleaded with Jesus. You know, he must have cared a whole lot about his servant. A whole lot about him, you know. A lot of times, you know, people don't care much for who they are over or whatever, you know. And but he did, and he wanted the Lord let the Lord know his servant was paralyzed. He was laying at home, tormented, you know. And he paralyzed, you know, he can't move, or maybe I don't know his whole body couldn't move, maybe a certain portion of his body couldn't move or whatever. But hey, he inquired about this guy because he cared a whole lot about his servant. And so, going on in verses number 7, and Jesus said to him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word, and my servant will be healed. So he knows that the Lord could heal. That's one of the reasons he came to him. And he asked him, would he do it? And Jesus answered him and he said, he will come and heal him. But the centurion, he felt that he was not worthy enough for Jesus to come under his roof, where he lived, where his servant was, and to lay hand on him or speak to him or whatever. Now, a lot of times, this is his point of view, the centurion. You know, because Jesus had, to me, all what I've studied, a lot of people, if you want to say one word, that he healed and did such things. But a lot of times, we in ourselves, what the centurion felt that he wasn't worthy, because he pretty much knew, I guess he knew that he wasn't living according as he should have been living, or whatever, that he wasn't worthy for Jesus to come under his roof. But he's going to go on in the next few verses, and he's going to tell him why. Verses number 9, for I also am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this one, go, and he goes. And to another, come, and he comes. And to my servants, do this, and he does it. So he knew that Jesus had a lot of authority. He was saying, in a sense, like, I know you could do it, but you have authority. I'm a man with like authority, in a sense. I can just say this and say that. You know, Jesus had his disciples with him. You know, he would tell them a lot of things to do, where to go and do this and all this stuff. And this centurion said, hey, look, I have this authority also. But he knew that he didn't have the authority that Jesus had for the healing and all that. He knew that. That's a whole different ball game. But he knew that he had authority over the soldiers that was under him, and what he can say and what he couldn't say. Okay, brother.
If you look at it, he's calling the Lord out. He's acknowledging basically who Christ is.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, here's a Roman soldier. They worshipped all Zeus and all that mess. But yet he knew the Jews that he came from would not acknowledge that. All of them would not acknowledge who he was. He was just some healer or something, you know. But the Roman acknowledged who he was, and that just asked for help.
What? Go ahead.
I mean, it's just what we ought to do now. It's just acknowledge who he is, ask for help, and accept what we can get.
Mm-hmm. You know, last week when we were studying, you know, Jesus had done some of the healing. Some believed on him, and some didn't. And they was wanting to kill him, and some of them spoke up. Hey, no. Hey, if let him go, if it will come to naught, and some of the stuff we had read. But they knew Jesus would do this, and they knew if they took him and killed him, well, Jesus wasn't going to let it happen no way, because that wasn't the plan. It wasn't planned from the beginning that it was going to happen. That it might have been an uprising, a mob. You know, back then when you go against some of those people back then, they'll all them pick up stones and start stoning you, even if you were a leader. And they was afraid to do some of the things, because they seen Jesus, what he did was good and heal people. And hey, you know, if you done heal this person and that person there, and hey, and then have the crowd believe in him anyway, hey, even though those scribes and those Pharisees, one was wanting to get him for healing on the Sabbath day, some of those high up archers were pushing it, they might have been the one that got stoned, and they knew that. So that's why they sort of stood back. And Jesus, as he was, a lot of times he knew they wanted him, he just disappeared into the crowd. He just walked off, and they couldn't, where he went, he looked just like the rest of them. They couldn't distinguish who he was or whatever when he walked in the crowd. Any other question or comment? Okay. Someone take number 10 and 11, please.
When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to those who followed, assuredly I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. And I say to you that many will come from the east and west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven.
Okay. So, Jesus was amazed when he heard that himself, that what kind of man this was, this centurion soldier. and said to those who followed, "Assuredly, I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel." So this man had a lot of faith. And he believed that he knew that all Jesus had to do is speak or say that his servant will be healed. And we ourselves, as we face things each day in our life, and some of our family members be sick, or sometimes we get sick, look, we know that if it's Jesus' will, you pray to him, he will heal you. That's it. It's up to him. And also we know that the Bible teaches the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. Even when you sing and when someone's sick, you pray for them. You sing hymns and pray for them that God will heal them. And through prayer, God will do if it is will. Any other question coming? Okay, going on. And I say unto you that many will come from the east and the west and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. So he letting them know, hey, he gonna be some come from all regions, the east and the west. That's what he said. And they will, in the kingdom, sit down in heaven with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this man had belief so that Jesus would do what he asked. I'm not worried for you to come to my house, but if you just speak and say it, I know that it will be done. And in fact, that's what was done. Verse 12. But the son of the kingdom will be cast out into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go your way, and as you have believed, so let it be done for you." And his servant was healed that same hour. So, first, the centurion believed that Jesus would do. And Jesus said to him that if he go his way, it will be done. Because he believed that it will be done, that Jesus that speak and say it. So, in this case, he believed. Other cases we read that the man that he healed, we didn't know whether he was a believer or not. He was lying there paralyzed. But for his leader to ask for that, and he believed it was going to be done. Jesus was going to grant his wish. Any other question or comment?
That's why it's important to pray for other people, whether they're in the faith or not.
Yeah. We can pray for our family members, children, our co-workers, leaders, locally and nationally. Of course, the Bible states that we should do that. Pray for those who are in authority. You know what? We all the time, we see people get in position. And we've been studying about how Lord let certain people get in position and that they didn't do right. But he used them until he got tired of them. And, you know, and it's the same today. People get in position today, and they won't do it. The Lord letting them get in those positions. They really not running this. None of these leaders here in Columbus, they really don't have authority to run nothing over God now, but they do things here. But God is still in control. And at the end result, he's still going to reign supreme. No matter, I don't care from the president, our congressmen, our government agency, none of them can do no more than God let them do. And you know what? We put them in there. And then if we put them in there and they don't do right, then we got a right to get them out of there. And so, hey, God ain't gonna let it get by him. Either way you go. Question coming. Okay, brother.
Hey, well, I know that you said when somebody got the daughter over you, they don't use to treat them right.
Well, sometimes, not all the time, but you know, sometimes.
This house back in 1955, I hope I'm not getting off of that, but I just added to that.
Okay.
I never was in the service, but in 1955, I could go to the movies and call it 10 cents back then.
You won't now.
I saw this movie by Clark Henry. He was had 6 right.
Uh-huh.
And he used to beat the guy up, kick on him, you know.
Yeah.
And the guy told him one time, he said, "Sergeant," he said, "I'm scratch on your shoulder, getting in my way."
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, Clark Henry would beat him up, you know.
Yeah. But don't matter who you are or how you get,
Yeah.
Lord can bring you down. He will bring you down if you don't armor yourself under him. Because
Well, that was just a movie, but
Right.
the guy ended up shooting, killing him.
well, it was an end to it, wasn't it? Might not been the reason why we was like see, but hey, that what happened a lot of time when you don't do right. And so God can only let you do wrong for so long. Misuse his people and mistreat his people. Don't care who you are. It's gonna be a stopping point somewhere. Any other question or comment? Okay, we are going to Luke, which is going to tell us the same thing. Luke, there was Matthew account of it, and we're going to go into Luke chapter 7 and see what Luke said about it. It's pretty much the same thing, but just worded a little different on some of the cases. And Luke chapter 7. At verse 1 it says, "Now when he concluded all his saying in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. And a certain Centurion servant who was dear to him was sick and ready to die." So he's reading a little different. So the same thing, the same Centurion soldier made a plea unto Jesus. Luke account. Will someone take verses 3 and 4, please?
He heard of Jesus, he sent unto him the elders of the Jews, beseeching him that he would come to heal his land. And when they came to Jesus, they besought him instantly, saying that he was worthy for whom he should do this. For he loved our nation, and he will judge us sometime.
Okay. So, Luke reading says that he sent his servants to Jesus to plead for the centurion. And, you know, he know that he was worthy. You know, when you know someone could do something, you come to them, you know they're capable of doing it, and that's what he was saying here. I know that he can do it. Because he knew that he had been going all around the region and stuff, healing and doing things that had never been done. And so it don't take a rocket scientist to see when things that other people you never saw done, he's doing it. This something about this individual is special, and it don't take. Sometimes I would just use the word, but not literally down. Even a blind man can see sometimes when you see righteousness is around, and people, someone that means good instead of a neat person that does evil. Oh, he goes on in verses number 5, for he loveth our nation and built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went with him And when he was already not far from the house, the centurion sent friend to him, saying to him, Lord, do not trouble thyself, for I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof. So, same thing is said here. But this account of Luke, he sent for Jesus. And Matthew says he came himself. But he sent. Luke said he sent some of his servants.
No, he sent the elders of the Jews, not some of his servants.
Right.
Yeah, if you go back to verse 3, I mean, he went to the leaders of the
Yeah,
Jewish
yeah,
community.
yeah.
And he said, go ask Jesus to come help.
Yeah, he pleaded for him. Yeah.
And they did, because apparently this guy supported the community very well in his position. You know, they were willing to go for him and ask Jesus.
Right.
Like they had more influence.
Thank you.
Give somebody with influence.
A little bit high authority.
Or knew him or had met him or something. He said, I'm just like, gonna be in your presence.
Okay? Therefore, I did not even think myself worthy to come to you. Now, this centurion soldier talking to, but say the word, and my servant will be healed. So he knew that if he just said, that he'll be healed. And how good of faith that you would have in someone else. You went to other people, which is the elders, which was said that he pleaded with them that they would send someone. And so it was done. He begged, you beg earnestly, he says in verse 4. So this man was really concerned about his servant. You beg. And I was at a thing yesterday, a senior citizen in the community which I was growing up, and the guy had said something that really stuck with me. One of the guys that was talking, he said that when it used to be, when it came up years ago, he said the housing wasn't as close together as it is now. He said when someone died in the neighborhood, everybody would know. But he said now when somebody died in the neighborhood, it might be 3 or 4 days or a week for people knowing they living right around together. And he just said how close people were back years ago compared to right now. So you look at these things, how that he honestly begged and stuff for Jesus to come, and that he would plead to him that he wanted to heal his servant that was at home. That's great. And nowadays, like the individual said the other day, people can be right there 2 or 3 houses down from you. They sick. Somebody might die. You might not know they dead 2 or 3 days before you even know. And I'm saying that didn't happen. I can remember that at least 20, 30 years ago. Someone died in that neighborhood. Everybody in that neighborhood was going to know. Whether they came over or not, you was going to know about it. And they were going to see what they could do for the family, help the family out any kind of way that they could. But now, we're in a so busy world that most everybody's caring about themselves. And we need to really think about it. Slow down sometimes, shift gears, downshift. You're rolling too fast. Okay, verse 7, he mentioned about that he wasn't worthy for the Lord to come on this roof. For I am a man, in verse 8, a man placed under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he come, and to my servant, this do, and he does it. So he's saying, hey, look, I got similar authority. I'm a man on authority. I can tell my soldiers or whatever, those under me, what to do, and they do. And he goes on in verse 9. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him and turned around and said to the crowd that followed him, I say to you, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. So he turned to the crowd. He said, all the folks that are standing around, he hadn't found that much faith in Israel. So he wanted them to know. You know, everywhere he went, you know, it was a crowd of people. And he turned to them. I hadn't saw so much faith in Israel. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
I'm trying to really wrap my head around the level of faith this guy had, because I'm thinking of dealing with an almost 5-year-old right now, and you tell him to do something or ask him something, and it's all like a teaching moment, but you're not. I don't believe anything he says. You know, have you gone to the bathroom? Yes. I didn't hear that. You're always checking up on stuff. I mean, this guy he didn't do any of that kind of stuff. There wasn't any preemptive investigation, or there's no double checking. He believed it so fully. He had so much faith that he said, this is what's going to happen when I go to Jesus with that.
Mm-hmm. He knew, because he knew what had been happening around that region. He knew this would happen. And I'm glad Sister Doctor pointed it out, because I read it and I wasn't thinking nothing about it in verse 3. Just went right on. So when he had heard about Jesus, it said, he sent elders of the Jews to him, pleading with him to come and heal his servant. He sent elders, so the Centurion soldier went to the elder and, you know, pleaded with them. You know, somebody can get this guy down here. You know what I'm saying? Will you do this? You know, and sometimes we got people that in types of authority and stuff that can get things done, and they will not do it. You know, and that's something to think about sometimes. And if any way that you could help someone medically or mentally or financially or whatever, if you're in that position, you should do it. A lot of people, well, I don't like him, I don't like him, I'm not going to do it. But don't stand in the way of progress, because God is looking at you too, you know. And it might be a time that you might need that help someone. And hey, you remember those times you said, well, I ain't going to do it. I don't like Wiley. I don't like Brother Ali. I'm not going to do it. I don't like Danny. I just don't like it. I ain't going to do it. You know, so we got to remember, it might be a day that we might need the same help. You don't never know. Verse 10, and those who were sent returned to the house and found the servant well, who had been sick. So he sent the servants back to the house, and they found the servant well. You know, so in that other reading, it said the same hour, you know, it was done right then and there. But this Luke account, and you know, each one on Mark, Luke, John, and Matthew, all of them tell their account. You know, some things the word is a little different, because it's the same way we would be. You send for us the same place and come back and tell us, get a report. Some of us, we'll say the same thing, but some of them might say it a little different. Some of them might leave parts out and some of them might not. So it's just basically what it was here.